Hello, I'm Marcus Boston,
And I'm Renee Boston.
and we would like to talk with you today quickly about some issues that we see when individuals contact us regarding a birth injury or a birth trauma case. Now, I've already done a lot of videos on this topic, and sometimes what can happen is when we feel calls that come in, and actually, believe it or not, yes, we do take the calls when they come in, but sometimes I can have different experiences with callers than Renee does when she takes some of the calls. And so for today's video, I'm going to let Renee discuss two of the main issues that she sees or she hears when calls come into our office about birth injury or birth trauma issues. Now, for this video today, we're not going to get into, as what we like to say, the medicine and the medical legal aspect of everything. We're just going to kind of try to help you understand more about this process. So, Renee, in your experience, like, what is the main thing that you see or you hear when calls come in?
One of the big issues that we get from callers on initial intake, and like Marcus said, we actually do take the call. So don't be shocked if you hear, when I introduce myself, hey, this is Renee Boston returning your phone call. But one of the big issues that we get from people is the expectations of how long will it take. I've fielded calls recently where babies were recently born and issues developed shortly thereafter. And so parents and significant others and loved ones want to know how long is it going to take to resolve the case. And for starters, the first issue is going to be, number one, is it a case? So I think that's a big problem or a misconception when people start dealing with when they start looking at what can an attorney do for me? Do I need an attorney? That kind of a thing. The biggest issue is going to be, one, whether or not I actually have a case. And to get to that point, there's a long road from the initial phone call or the initial email and whether or not I have a case.
And I was just gonna say, just to quickly jump in on that. Can you? I mean, and we don't want to make it too long, but can you talk to the viewers about that process? Just a little bit about the analysis or that early review that we have to do just to be able to have kind of an idea of whether we may even be in the ballpark as to a viable birth injury case.
Right. Well, step one, we got to get records. So the way mom and dad remembers it, the way, auntie or uncle, whoever was in the delivery room, the way they remember it may be different from what actually happened and what was actually documented in the medical records. So step one for us will be to get those medical records. And what people don't realize is that it's not as easy you're not just picking up the phone, calling the hospital and say, hey, send me those records, and the fax machine starts spitting out documents ASAP. It doesn't work that fast. So it can actually take a significant period of time for you to actually get the medical records when you first initially request them. So that's step one. You got to get those records. So once you get the records, what happens? If you've kept up with some of Mark's videos on YouTube and on our website, you'll see that you have to have a medical expert to say whether or not the doctor or the OB or nurse or midwife in this case, whether he or she deviated from the standard of care. So once you get the medical records, you have to get an expert to review those records, and that could take a significant period of time too, because you have to get a specific expert for that specific area, for that specific area and issue, and then give them enough ample time to go through the records. And I'm telling y'all, medical records for a birth injury, it's not 2 or 3 sheets of paper.
Right,
I mean, there's been times where we've gotten reams and like a pack of paper, several of those per case. So it can take a while to actually get through the paperwork for us as well as the medical expert to get through the paperwork.
And also to remind them too, if this is individuals watching and they're thinking, okay, well, I don't want to get an attorney immediately, but I may want to start on this process about getting the records, the importance of making sure they get all of the records, mom and baby.
Yeah. So when you make that initial request for your medical records, when you do so, ask for the mom's, you need really the mom's prenatal records from, the initial, when she first found out she was pregnant through the delivery and when she's discharged, as well as the babies from delivery to the baby's discharge. But also there's something in there called in the labor and delivery records, there's also the fetal heart strips and other incidental records that will go into the big pile of records. So there are little sections of records that all encompass the total record for the mom and dad, the mom, the baby, and that particular labor and delivery.
Right.
So it's important that when you ask for the medical records, you ask for everything: mom's records, baby's records, fetal heart strips, anything associated with the birth and delivery of that child.
And just jump in quickly, also, if you're making these requests, see if you can get these things on disc. See if you can get them on a disc or in a portal that you can look at or something like that, because if you're getting it by paper, a lot of times the hospitals, they are going to charge you for that, and there are some rules in regards to how much they can charge with certain things like that. But if there's we're talking about 500, 600, 700 pages of the records or more, then that number can get up there pretty quick in regards to cost for your records. But again, just make sure, like Renee said, mom's records, you want mom's records, you want baby's records, and you want to also make sure that you get those electronic fetal heart monitor records. And for finally, the second issue that you see that comes in with the calls. I know you kind of touched on it with the time frame, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
So
the unreasonable.
So I call it Unreasonable Expectations. That's a segment that I usually deal with like once a week, and in it is people don't necessarily realize how long it can take. I think a lot of people watch a lot of TV and movies, and
think it's over in an hour. It's an hour show,
it's a 2-hour movie, and they may show something from a few months encompassed in 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and that's not it. There could be, like I said earlier, with the review of the medical records alone, that could take several months to get the records and then have somebody to review them. So if you are patient, you should be fine. But if you're one of those people that I call the lawyer on Monday, and by Friday I need some answers. That's not going to happen, because realistically, that's not enough time to get things done. And I've actually seen cases where from the baby's birth to the resolution of the matter can take anywhere from 2-3 years. So I'm not saying that to scare anybody, but I'm just saying that
all cases are going to be like that. But
I want to tell you that to put you in the time frame of it can take a while.
It can take a minute.
And if I'm in your situation, and I've kind of had to go look at records before, I want somebody to take their time to look at everything. I don't want you to just flip through a couple of sheets and say, okay, no, it's not a case, or maybe it is, and then you drag it out, and it comes to find out it's not really something that is worth your time as the patient and the potential plaintiff to pursue. Right.
So thanks so much for that, Renee. Like I said, we're going to want to take some time, and I want to bring Renee in and to have her to talk about her experience too. Like I said, I'm on a lot of these videos, and so
she does actually exist.
She exists, and she's here. But again, you get it from my standpoint. But I wanted Renee to shed some light on her experience too, to help you understand this process, to give you more information about this. So if you would like to speak with us further, if you're watching this video today because your baby has been born and you've been given certain news, maybe there's hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy that your baby has been diagnosed with, maybe they had to do some cooling for your baby, maybe your baby was suffering from seizures, or maybe your baby had to be taken to the NICU.
And don't forget also blue in color as well.
Blue in color, and all of these things are going on, and now you've been given a diagnosis of a brain injury or a cerebral palsy diagnosis, and you've got questions about this. You're concerned about how you're going to pay for treatment. You're concerned about living arrangements and things like that, and what type of challenges your baby's going to meet in the future, and how you're going to help them get over those challenges. If you have all of that going on and you would like to speak with us about your situation and your baby's situation, this is what we invite you to do. And remember, taking this next step, it costs you absolutely nothing. And what is that step, Renee?
Give us a call. You can reach us on 2 numbers. The first one is 301-850-4832, and I'll repeat it, is 301-850-4832. Or if you're out of the area and you want to call us and don't want to use your long distance, you can call us toll free at 833-4BABY-HELP.
And you can also reach us by email at medicalinjury@bostonlawllc.com. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston.
And I'm Renee Boston.
And we are 2 of the attorneys here at Boston Law Group, LLC.
We'll see you next
And
time.
we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.